A family heartbroken after learning their mother passed away in a nursing home. The situation made worse after they learned the facility accidentally mistook their mother for her roommate and called and reported the death to the wrong family.
And I understand mistakes, but that's a huge mistake.
Investigative reporter Avery Travis reveals why the nursing home is not in trouble and why the family feels this is an example of an industry in crisis. And a good morning to all of you who are watching us on our streaming platforms. I'm Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN live studio on this Wednesday morning for another edition of Inside the Investigations. This is an in-depth look at some of the work that our incredible investigative team has been doing this last week. And as always, joining me here to talk more about the top stories of this week is investigative reporter Kelly Wiley. Kelly, as always, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's give people a sense of what we're going to talk about today. We got a little bit of a taste of it there, but explain what we're going to talk about today.
Well, we all in the investigative office kind of joke that we have these beats, but really they're kind of unofficial things that we're hyper-focused on. And Avery has always been very focused on nursing homes, nursing facilities, and places where people who are aging, our older community members are living, and how these facilities run. And this piece, I remember when the tip came in, I'm so excited to talk to her because this story really threw us all for a loop.
Let's look at the headline of Avery's story. We're talking about Avery Travis. The headline reads, "First of its kind nursing home staffing minimum proposed. Will it protect Texas residents?" So let's welcome into the conversation now Avery Travis. Avery, thank you for being here.
Will, Kelly, thanks so much for having me this morning.
Well, Avery, we get tips all the time. I was just telling Will, I remember when this email came in and you read it to all of us in the room. And we were all shocked. But then you went on a journey to figure out what happened. Tell us about this family that you found.
Yeah, Kelly, you know this full well. On our team, so much of our storytelling and the investigations we pursue is really driven by our viewers. I always say it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation. You know, did the tip come first? Did the story come first? And then those stories, bring more tips. This is one of those situations. If you rewind back to the late winter, early spring, some of you may remember KXAN did an investigation and looked at how the state investigates cases of potential abuse or neglect in long-term care facilities, nursing homes, and assisted living facilities here in the state of Texas. What we found was that in some cases where abuse or neglect is substantiated, that home may not even be cited or may not be penalized for that substantiated abuse because they've made changes to prevent it from happening in the future. After that investigation was published, within, I believe, days, I received an email from a woman named Lori Mitchell. And she said, "Hey, my mom's case was a little different than that, but I'd like you to take a look." It was her email that sparked us looking into a bit of a different kind of incident, what happened to her family, and it launched us down the path that ultimately led to us reporting on this new federal proposal.
And in this particular case, tell us what this mom said ended up happening.
You said, Kelly, you said there at the beginning, it threw us a bit for a loop. I had not heard of an incident like this happening. I've talked to several experts in the field who say the same. To give you a bit of an in-depth into what Lori Mitchell's family experienced, picture this. It's 5:30 in the morning. Lori gets a call from her mother, Round Rock Nursing Home, and the staff member, relays the heartbreaking news that her mother has passed away, which of course is devastating to Lori. But what she was told next on that phone call is really what stopped her in her tracks. She was told to go ahead and reach out to the funeral home, that her mother's body was there, and they would take the planning from there, the next steps that need to happen when you lose a loved one. And Lori was confused. She said, "I had not given permission for my mom to be moved to a funeral home. In fact, the funeral home name that she was given didn't ring a bell for her. It wasn't the funeral home that their family would have chosen." So she's already thinking something's not right here. About an hour later, she gets another call back from that facility saying your mom is actually back at the facility, and there's been a bit of a mistake. We learned through facility records of an investigation that eventually happened after. State records we obtained show that the facility made an error and actually hours earlier had called a different family and relayed that their loved one had passed away. That loved one was Lori Mitchell's mom's roommate and had actually not passed away. It came out and came to light eventually that the other family member's loved one was still alive, and it had been a bit of a mix-up, to use a light term. Lori's concerns, and the reason she reached out to us was that, she told us, I believe a direct quote was, mistakes happen, but this was a big mistake. And it started to sow some seeds of doubt in her mind about the type of care her mom was receiving. If a mix-up like this could happen, she started to question what other things may have fallen through the cracks. And that is, she reached out to us to see if we could look into the general state of care in the industry, how much attention is paid to each individual resident, and maybe why sometimes we eventually learn due to staffing shortages, other stressors on the industry, why a mistake like this might have occurred.
And this is obviously horrible for both of these families, but I remember, Avery, the home wasn't penalized for what happened, and the first question that you tried to figure out was, why not?
Yeah, we want to make clear that those state records show an investigator that came in and looked at all the facts of this incident made the ruling that this was simply an error. Lori said it. Experts that we've spoken to have reiterated that mistakes do happen in the course of caring for folks in long-term care facilities. We know that the claims about a lack of care or the concerns were ruled unsubstantiated. This home was not cited. We also learned from the records that this home went a few steps further. They made a few changes to make sure this doesn't happen again. They have made more clear residents' profile photos so that staff members can take a look at that. They've tried to make more clear signs on the doors of everyone's rooms to note whose bed belongs to whom. But the thing that Lori mentioned that really stuck in my mind was her concerns about what she felt was staff turnover at the home. She felt like over the last year, she did not see some of the longtime nurses' faces that she had seen over the years that her mother was receiving care there. And she noticed some new faces and frequently faces coming in and out of the home. So she started to question what the staffing turnover looked like at this home, or just the staffing rates in general. We took a closer look at that, and you can dive into it in the story, but we did find that staff turnover was about 80% in the last year at this facility. In Texas, rates are also high, nearing 60% staff turnover. That's a problem we've seen in Texas. It's a problem that, regulators and industry experts have really tried to address. There's a brand new federal proposal that we stumbled upon in the course of our reporting. It was released in September. It is aiming to try to curtail some of the staffing issues that we've seen in Texas in this industry, but also nationwide. What this proposal would do would set minimums of the amount of minutes of care that people received from a registered nurse and also from a certified nurse aide. It's really trying to set a minimum threshold of how much care, face-to-face interaction with these skilled nurses that residents receive. The proposal also tackles quite a few other things. I think the staffing standard is maybe what's getting a lot of national attention. But what we zeroed in on is another piece or two pieces of the proposal. One wants to take a deep dive into how taxpayer funds are being used in these homes, how much of those funds are going to fund staffing, to pay for high quality care, to incentivize people to come and work in a skilled nursing facility and stay. The other piece would be a review of investigations in cases of abuse or harm. The federal government wants states to work with them to take a look back at some of the investigations in the past and audit whether those facilities' investigations were handled appropriately and whether the citations fit the incident, fit the appropriate consequence of what happened in the incident. And so all of these things are on the table in this federal proposal. We asked Lori, just to take it back to her and her family, what she thought of all of these new initiatives that the federal government has proposed. She said, I don't know what the answer is. She just is glad that people are talking about it. She just wants more people to be focused on these issues.
Mm-hmm. And in your piece, just to kind of my last question, there is the other part of this, the facilities that are going to have to comply with these rules. What is their reaction to this proposal?
Yeah, we've heard varying reactions from, these actually aren't strong enough. That's something we heard echoed by federal lawmaker Congressman Lloyd Doggett. He said, I think these could go further. But just to give everyone a little perspective, what you're seeing on the screen now, 33 minutes of care from an RN, 2 hours and 27 minutes from a nurse aide. That's what's being proposed. Right now in Texas, the majority of homes are below that. We know the average in Texas is 22 minutes of care from an RN and roughly 2 hours from a nurse aide. So the majority of Texas homes would have to do a pretty big lift in trying to meet these proposed standards. We talked to a representative who advocates on behalf of facility owners and operators, and he said, these are one-size-fits-all requirements in this proposal that most Texas homes wouldn't be able to meet. He worried that some homes would have to close, which in turn would cause a lack of options and care for families in the community. We know that right now the proposal is just that. It's a proposal. It's undergoing what's called a comment period for about the next month. And the federal government and advocates are really encouraging people to weigh in. They want to hear from people who work in these facilities, people who own these facilities, but also you at home, the taxpayer who will be funding this. They want to hear from families if you've had a loved one in one of these facilities or if you currently have a loved one in one of these facilities. They want to hear from everyone. They're accepting these comments. We've got a link in the story if you'd like to weigh in after reading our story or after doing research of your own. It can be as short as a sentence or as long as a research paper. But the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid do want to accept these comments before they move forward with either refining the proposal or moving forward.
Avery Travis, thank you so much for explaining this. I know that this is a thread that you've been pulling for a while, but it's interesting that this story kind of ends off with people being encouraged to give their input to someone who can actually make a change. So definitely go check that out on the website under the Investigates tab. And again, if you've ever emailed us, still do that, but also put in a comment to this group that's taking this feedback. Thank you so much for sitting and talking with us.
Kelly, thanks for highlighting the story.
And as Kelly mentioned, you can read Avery Travis's investigation on our website at KXAN.com in the investigation section. Again, this is the headline that you're seeing right here, so please go and read that whenever you have a chance. Kelly, thanks so much for bringing that conversation to us with Avery and for the last few weeks delving into some of these other investigations that you and the other members of our team have been really hard at working on. This is a great way to just showcase that reporting and talk about what maybe comes next in those.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we're able to do these because there's often so much left unsaid in the stories that just, cut for time, but these conversations allow for so much context. And you can really also see how passionate these investigators are about these topics. Again, this is a story that Avery, in some way or another, has been covering since I got here 2 years ago. So these are things that our investigators latch onto and really care about finding the answers to the questions that come up.
That will do it for another episode of Inside the Investigations. That is Kelly Wiley. I'm Will Dupree. We will see you back here next Wednesday for another look at some of these investigative stories. Kelly, thanks again.
Thank you, Will.
All right, everybody, we'll send you on your way. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.